America, here we are inside the Business Pulse. I'm Chuck Barham, and we're brought to you by the Freedom Chamber, the Pro-American Business Network, small business solutions, and we've got a healthcare solution. If you're a member, take advantage of it. If you know somebody that owns a business and they're not a chamber member yet, get them inside right now. freedomchamber.net. Rod Martin joins us. Dean Owen joins us. And we have the Epstein files that look like they're getting ready to be released in the next 30 days. Rod, what's that going to do to the world that is D.C. and the big influencers around the world? Your thoughts?
I think the Democrats are really going to regret that they did this. Biden had these files for 4 years. The two district court judges that are keeping certain testimony under seal are both Democrats. Everybody Epstein ever supported was a Democrat. It's like 90% of his political contributions. They're just in trouble. And they let TDS get in their minds so completely as though it were a cancer. And they just want to believe that Donald Trump is the evil baddie here. I guess it was just Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump by themselves on an island with some children. I mean, it's just absurd. He didn't go. And he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago in the 90s because he was a bad guy. So, we now have emails where Epstein is very clear that he absolutely hates Donald Trump, absolutely has nothing good to say about him at all. This is not going to blow up on Donald Trump. If it were going to, the Biden team would have prosecuted Donald Trump for something in the 4 years they had these files. Who does that leave? Well, it leaves Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, slews of other top Democrats, and they're all in a lot of trouble, most likely. Now, I would agree with some of these people, like the Krasensteins, used to say when Biden was still in office, they didn't want these released because it would have the potential to smear some innocent people who just got caught up in the dragnet of all this data. Well, that's not wrong, actually. That is a problem. But you'll notice that entire line of thought went away the minute Donald Trump took office and they thought they could score some points on him. So what was going to be their new Russiagate is about to blow up in their face.
Well, what was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Speaker Johnson had a problem with the way it was pushed through and rushed through in the Senate, and they wanted to redact things. What was his thinking? And if you're Speaker Johnson, that's just bad optics, don't you think?
It's bad optics, but it's good law. I mean, he's
Sure.
not wrong. If you just release all this stuff willy-nilly, we don't know who might need to be prosecuted and what hand that might tip. There are just a lot of things here that are a bad idea. And in retrospect, I kind of wish that the Trump team hadn't made such a big deal of releasing these files early on. They didn't need to release them as much as they needed to go after the wrongdoers and build airtight cases in federal court. These documents may very well taint juries such that they can't bring a conviction. That would be a terrible thing. However, on balance, we're at a point where the nation needs transparency. They're about to get it, and the Democrats aren't going to like what they get.
Back when Trump was telling everybody to get off of the Epstein kick, that's not a problem, it's a hoax. I openly, I don't know if I said it here, but I know I said it publicly. I wondered, was that a trap? Was he setting a trap, knowing the Democrats were then going to push hard and knowing he had no culpability? And I wondered if that was just not, he's playing 3D chess and they're playing checkers.
I had a conversation with a good friend of mine when President Trump came out with that. I said, he just put the bait in the trap. Let's see how long it takes them to sniff it out and come take it. And the last couple of weeks, they've been gnawing on it. And finally, I believe that was a trap. That was President Trump saying, it's a hoax. We don't need this stuff. I truly believe that was a trap. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
It's much, much more interesting to look at which Democrats didn't call for the release of the Epstein files than the ones who did. And the ones who did obviously don't know exactly who they're outing, or if they do, they want those people gone. Chuck Schumer in particular.
Yes, I was just going to say, Chuck Schumer was one of them that you could see would get beads of sweat on his forehead anytime it was brought up in a press conference or anytime he was forwarded, in a conversation. So I think he's on that list. Allegedly.
I can't help but suspect somehow, some way, somewhere, they're going to find a way not to put the information out. There's too many, from what it appears, there's too many deep state players that are implicated, and I have a fear, and I hope I'm wrong, but I just can't figure out some way that they're not going to find a way to shut it down.
Do federal judges get involved with this somehow, as they do with everything else that President Trump tries to accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, as I said, you've got grand jury testimony and trial testimony in 2 federal district courts, both judges nominated and put in office by Democrats, and they're sealing their data. They won't release it. The Justice Department put in a formal request for that information, and they wouldn't give it to them. Okay, well, we'll see where that goes now. Now, at the same time, Dean's exactly right. There's a bunch of stuff here that's probably going to have to get redacted, because my guess is we're going to find out there's intelligence community activity in this, and that people are going to be implicated in something that falls under methods and sources. So we'll see how it plays out. That'll obviously be blown out of all proportion if there's nothing there. And there may be really something there. I mean, it could be that this was all a deep state op to compromise leading politicians and funders and manipulate them. And if that's true, it could be very hard to unwind.
Well, the good thing is it's going to make for great Thanksgiving talk around the kitchen table. That's for sure.
The other thing is we may find it brings down some of our allies in other countries.
And that would not be the end of the world.
No, it wouldn't. That could be a good weed eater right there, in my opinion. Let's turn the page now, because the Epstein thing has sucked a lot of oxygen out of a lot of rooms over the course of the last couple of weeks. But I want to talk about the economy. I want to talk about these polls you're seeing out with President Trump's poll numbers being down. I don't put a lot of weight into them. I think America is so used to a quick fix with everything that this is a huge ship that's got attacked. That's got to get rid of all this policy and red tape. And the big, beautiful bill really hasn't done its thing yet. Rod, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's exactly right. This takes more than a minute, but it doesn't take forever either. You hear people talking about this really getting going by 2028. No, it can absolutely get going well in time for the midterms. We need to make sure that it does, but we're in the middle, or rather the beginnings, of a supply side boom. We've got $18 trillion in new investment coming in, and even that's growing. MBS was at the White House this week, announced that their $600 billion investment is now going to be $1 trillion. And of course, that doesn't even count us now selling them F-35s and some other things that put jobs on factory lines in America. And again and again and again, you have things happening that are going to push the economy up dramatically. You're starting to see it in some of the key numbers. I realize people aren't quite feeling it yet, but here's one that's really important. For the 4 years of Joe Biden, inflation outpaced the wage growth. Now, in the 9 months we've just had, the price of food is trailing wage growth, which means you're getting, in effect, a price cut even though the price is increasing. As a percentage of your income, you're actually doing better after just 9 months, never mind the 4 years. So we're trending in the right direction. I think this really just is impossible to repress by middle of the summer, and we probably kill it in the midterms.
And the viewers should probably realize we are recording this show a week early because of Thanksgiving next week, trying to get some things going. So today's actually 20th. Yesterday, Atlanta Fed came out with a projected 4.2% GDP growth in the fourth quarter. We saw jobs numbers come out, even though the BLS was shut down during the government shutdown. We've seen job numbers come out really strong. That's what's turned this market around. So we're starting to see it. Now you see it first and then you feel it. It's kind of like the train coming down the tracks. You see it first and then when it gets there, you feel the wind effect. So we're not there yet. Personally, I think this president's smart enough to know how important these midterms are, and he's timing everything so that by second quarter of next year, this economy is a rocket ship, carries us through the midterms, make sure we get a good, strong GOP majority in the House and Senate. There's only been two presidents in the past who did not lose seats in the other chambers during the midterms, and that was Ronald Reagan, and the other one was George Bush too, and he had to have 9/11 to get it. So this president's got a Herculean task, and he knows it, and he set himself up for it. And it's kind of like if you got to eat a frog today, do it first thing in the morning. If you got a Band-Aid to rip it off, and get over it and move on. And that's the speed this president runs at. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody if you watch what he does. This is what he does. And to me, he's just being very much the Trump we elected. He's doing what he said he's going to do as fast as he can do it and doing it. But he's also a very shrewd man who he sees further down the tracks than most of us ever will.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, we're running up against a hard break here, but I want to wish you both a happy Thanksgiving, and I appreciate everything you guys do for us here at the Freedom Chamber and Freedom Square, and your insights and knowledge are impeccable, and you've got a great batting average going into December, so let's keep that up. And one of the things we're going to talk about is a new platform that's old, that's brand new, that's been around, that's been stealth for a while. We're going to talk to John Willis, the Chief Strategy Officer at Parler Technologies. You're going to want to stick around for this because it's going to be a game changer. Rod, where can people find you as we roll out this segment here?
Come to rodmartin.org. That's rodmartin.org. We have tens of thousands of subscribers. We have 275,000 more followers over on X. There's a reason. And Fox Business calls our daily geopolitical analysis absolutely phenomenal. So if that's where they are, that's where you need to be. So come to rodmartin.org.
Every time you say that, we should have fireworks go off in the background, Rod. We're going to work on that in our budget for 2026. Dean, where can we find you?
ONCPA.com. Jump online, connect with my team. Let's start a relationship. Let's make sure that we're doing everything possible to disinherit the government and not your kids.
Love it. We're going to talk to John Willis next, the Chief Strategy Officer for Parler Technologies. Stick around. This is the Business Pulse.
My name is Dean Owen. I'm a CPA. I have a master's degree in taxation and a personal financial specialist. Tax laws are always changing. That's why you need a tax strategist, not just a tax preparer. You need someone to help you pay the least amount of tax legally. Because if your business and retirement tax planning is not tax smart, it's probably tax dumb. Let's fix that today. Call me. Let's disinherit the government and not your kids. That's what my team and I do. This is who we are. I'm a combat veteran, unapologetically American, unapologetically pro-God, pro-life, and pro-Second Amendment. If those are the values you seek in a tax and money advisor, call us. Again, let's disinherit the government and not your kids. We're not afraid to share our values, and we share them with you.
America, welcome back to the Business Pulse. I'm Chuck Barham. We're brought to you by the Freedom Chamber online at freedomchamber.net, the pro-American business network. And one of the businesses you can find inside the Freedom Chamber is Parler and Parler Technologies. John Willis, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Chuck. Thanks for having me.
Parler's been on a roller coaster since its founding in 2018, and then the cancel culture took hold in 2021 with Apple and Google and AWS deplatforming Parler based upon what, right? And you guys relaunched, and now here you are with new technologies. Walk us through where Parler is today and your role within it.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. So we all know Parler was really the first free speech app that was launched in 2018, originally by John Mates and Rebecca Mercer. And it skyrocketed all the way to be the #1 social media platform during the 2020 election. And because of that, Parler became a huge threat to big tech, the media, and really to the Democrat Party because they couldn't control it. And so a lot of falsehoods and a lot of misinformation and really, as Trump says, fake news was put out there about Parler. And so when January 6th happened, they had Trump as a villain. They had the Proud Boys and other instigators as villains, but they really needed the big villain, which is the one thing they couldn't control besides Trump, which was Parler. And so Apple, Google, and AWS ended up basically shutting it down. So Parler went from $1 billion valuation to zero overnight. And AWS even took it a step further by completely deleting the database. And so, so over the next 3 years after that incident happened, Parler went through a couple of different ownership changes. Candace Owens' husband, George Farmer, he owned it for a short time. And then Kanye West at one point tried buying it. And then eventually it was sold to a marketing company that really just wanted the database of 17 million users. And then that's who we ended up buying it from. And so in the late 2023, my partners and we ended up acquiring the Parler brand, and we had already owned a tech company. We're Dallas based in Texas. And we had our own cloud company at the time and our own development company. And so what we looked at is, really since January of 2021, we realized that there was a huge paradigm shift on social media and censorship. As the left doubled down on silencing anybody that opposed their viewpoints or ideology, there was a real pushback from the right saying this isn't right. So, my partners and we were literally there at Mar-a-Lago with President Trump and the original Truth Media team. It was in early of 21, like literally a month after he was banned everywhere, talking about how do we create a completely autonomous ecosystem. Now, over the next few years, we had True Social, Getter, Rumble, Gab, Clout Hub. All these platforms launched, but none of them truly built a complete autonomous ecosystem completely free from big tech. None of them did. In fact, True Social to this day is still on AWS. So's X, So as we acquired the Parler brand, we said, you know what? We are going to do what no one really had the guts to do. We're going to build a complete replacement to big tech. And so from December of 23 to today, that's exactly what we have done. So Parler Technologies, not only did we launch Parler back in the App Store, we actually did it pretty quietly, but over a 2-year period, we worked in stealth developing something that's never been built before that puts content creators and users first, where they are the beneficiaries, not the product. So when you go and join Facebook and you say, I accept all your terms and conditions, what you're basically saying is, I accept the fact that you are going to spy on me, steal my data, censor my voice, and limit my posts. That's basically what you're admitting to. And you're going to make billions of dollars off of my data, and I get jack squat in return. Parler said, no, we're going to flip that model. We're going to say every single user, as they use Parler, guess what? You earn crypto by liking, sharing, commenting, posting, engaging on the platform. No one else does that. So basically, you're being paid to do what you already do on social media. And guess what? You get to keep your data. We're not going to be spying on you. We're not going to be selling your data for billions of dollars. We're not even going to be collecting it. We don't care. We want you to have a voice. We want your church to have a place where they can worship freely, spread the gospel freely, no fear of censorship. And we want information to be shared freely where grown adults can use their own brain to determine whether the information is true or not. But we also wanted to take it even one step further, where content creators can make 30% more than where they do on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. How? Because we own everything. We own the infrastructure. We built our own cloud. And because we own our own cloud, our costs are 40% cheaper than all the other platforms. We have our own content delivery network, which means speed is key, delivering video streaming files, image files, and content, no matter what the content is, at a much higher rate because we own that delivery system. And the coolest thing that we have done is we have integrated all of our ecosystem into the blockchain. So we've decentralized basically all the data that we have, and users earn those blockchain or crypto rewards every single day by using Parler or using our streaming platform, which is like a YouTube TikTok alternative called Play TV. The other thing that we added is we got into the fintech space where we launched a Web3 DeFi wallet. So just think of like Apple Pay on your iPhone or Google Pay on your Android. We launched our own wallet to house all the crypto that you own that's Ethereum based, but also our crypto, which is called Optio. And as you earn your crypto rewards on Parler and Play TV, it shows up in your wallet every single day. You can then take those rewards and go shop on our marketplace. We have a marketplace called Cardix, where we've partnered with Kevin Harrington and his Big Brand Ventures company. And any Shopify store, any e-commerce store out there can connect their store to us and actually sell your products. And you get to take home 90% of the sale compared to Amazon that may take 30% from you. So you actually get to keep 90%. So what we wanted to do is create this entire ecosystem where you can post on Parler or Play TV, you can promote your products on Parler and Play TV, have the links directly to the store. All of your monetization shows up in your wallet, and all your data is completely protected by our cloud servers that we own and our cloud software that we own. So everything that we have is autonomous. We have zero reliance on big tech. We don't need Silicon Valley. We have Texas, and everything is good in Texas.
That it is. That is one heck of an elevator speech, John. I mean, that you just educated me right then and there in these last 4 minutes. And I'm sure Rod Martin's got questions because, Rod, you were right at the beginning of PayPal, correct?
I was, and it's really a shame to see what they've done with the place. Yeah.
Sure.
But, the truth is, depending on what you're selling on Amazon, they may take as much as 70%.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to get 90% back to the creator is really quite extraordinary. And one of the real selling points for Parler. But going back, to when all this blew up in the media, I mean, it was just such a naked, raw abuse of power. It was just extraordinary. This is a platform that is succeeding. They were on track, honestly. I think if you'd given them just a few more months, would have surpassed Twitter, would have been competitive with Facebook, and all of that just got shut down. It's an antitrust violation more than anything else, and it should have been prosecuted as one, but it also shows you where the Democrats want to take us. They want to absolutely control thought so that they can absolutely control the ballot box. And there's simply no defending our democracy in that. The only our democracy in that is rule by Democrats. And that's what they were imposing on us in 2021. Thankfully, they elected a vegetable who couldn't actually see it through to its logical conclusion. If they had elected a Hillary Clinton or a Barack Obama in 2020, assuming that anybody they put up was elected at all, we wouldn't be coming back from it. So 2026 and 2028 are vital, or everybody's going to be Parler.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, John. Where do you see Parler playing a role in the upcoming election in 2026? Because it seems like you've got your feet underneath you now, and now you can really take it back to where it should have been.
I mean, in reality, Parler, even though we started out as a conservative platform, we are still 100% conservative in values and everything, but we want it to be as big tent as possible.
Sure.
We don't want to, that's the one thing that kind of drives me nuts about the whole political sphere is that there is this mindset that if you are conservative, you can have no relationships with liberals, or if you're a liberal, you can have no relationship with conservatives. That's ridiculous, And so what we're saying is, hey, whatever mindset or ideology or beliefs that you have, you're welcome here. We're not going to silence you because of it. Just don't threaten to kill anybody and don't post any pornography, and we're good to go, So
Right.
For us, when it comes to the election, we want Democrats, we want Republicans, we want independents. Everybody is welcome on there to basically voice their beliefs. I've never really been a big fan of the two-party system. I think there should be multiple parties. But because of the world that we're in, that's kind of where we're at. But everyone has the right to voice their opinion. Everybody has their right to share their beliefs, and nobody has the right to tell you that you can't. And unfortunately, over the past 10 years, Silicon Valley, with its empowerment from the federal government that we learned from the Twitter files that Elon Musk released, they think completely opposite. Now, luckily, they're playing nice right now because they realize that if they tried that crap right now with Trump in office, he would bury them, and so they bent the knee in January. But we didn't build Parler to last an election cycle.
Right.
We built it like a diesel engine where this thing is going to run for hundreds of thousands of miles. You know what I mean? And so when Trump is out of office in 3 years, Parler's still going to be running and gunning. We're not hitching our wagon completely to Trump because, like I said, we are much more than just a political platform now. We are solely focused on content creators and users and giving them a voice and giving them the ability to make money. But when it comes to politics, you can promote your candidate all that you want. We are not going to silence you because we may not agree with who they are. That's not American. That's not what this country was all about. We are supposed to debate. We are supposed to disagree. That's what freedom is. The day that we have to force everybody to think a certain way is the day that America no longer exists. And frankly, we're never going to allow that.
Amen to that. Dean, I know you've got some thoughts there, bud.
Well, it's just, I know I play on Parler some and thinking that through maybe some more with one of my other businesses. But yeah, the world's changed, and there's a reason why we welcome debate and we welcome the other side and we welcome the opportunity to have conversation. I've got a number of friends who are quite far left, but when you lead with respect and you listen and you don't lead with criticism, you're not negative, you can often turn them or cause them to question their core beliefs. And it happened the other night with another professional I'm really, really close to, but she's really important to me, but she's center left by at least a little bit more than a little bit. And, but when you lead with love, and she's got a daughter who's, questioned some gender stuff, and she's asking about that. And I said, well, I think they're confused because God doesn't make mistakes. And that's the whole part of making these gender issues, is because you want to create an environment where God makes mistakes, which, that's the core of that attitude. So yeah, well, you're doing God's work and having open debate, and the right doesn't censor and criticize. The right does not censor the left. The left censors the right. And I really believe that there's not nearly as many of them as the perception is. The success in my business would go a long way to show that I'm in a little bitty town and a little bitty part of flyover country, and still got my name put in the magazines as one of the top 150 CPA financial advisors in North America. And I have a very conservative, loud voice in my region. And I basically just said, this is who I am. This is what I believe. These are the values you seek in an advisor. Call me. If not, okay. So yeah, you're doing God's work, and I'm proud for you.
That's the way it should be. And John, what were some of the things that surprised you once you got up and running again, with people re-identifying themselves as being able to use Parler and do the good work and, create content and create income for themselves?
Well, I'll tell you that the thing that's really caught us off guard is just how much misinformation has been out there about Parler, and how hated the brand and the name has been. And it's all based on lies. And so for us, we've always had to deal with the giant elephant in the room, that Parler did not instigate January 6th. It actually did work with the FBI to turn in bad actors, because there were bad actors. But guess what? There were bad actors on Facebook and X. There still are to this day. But the other thing is, I think the people that are really appreciating what we're doing more than anything is the faith community. You need to understand that the makeup of our company is more than just Christian. We have Muslims, we have Jews, we have Hindus, and of course we have Christians of all walks of Christianity, evangelical, charismatic, Pentecostal, LDS, you name it. They are all over the spectrum. But we are all united in the belief that we believe in God and that we believe that we should be good to each other and give people the opportunity to have a voice and to have success. And so when you build on these basic beliefs, you build on this foundations that we can all agree on, very basic things. It is amazing to see what can happen. And the response that we have has been overwhelmingly positive. And when people really look behind the curtain, they get past the stupid misinformation that CNN and MSNBC and Wall Street Journal and all that put out there 5 years ago, and they actually see the truth. And they see who we really are. They see what we've really built. And they see that we didn't build it for us. We built it for you and for you to benefit way more than we would. I mean, you were saying earlier about the splits on Amazon. If we really wanted to screw people over, we would charge the same splits as Amazon, but we're not. We want people to succeed and to grow and to be wealthy. Everybody has that opportunity. So for us, we have found that it's been very, very exciting. Now, what's really interesting is big tech thought that they killed, and the Democrat Party thought they killed Parler 4 years ago. What they didn't realize is that they built the replacement, and now that replacement is going public next year. We're having our IPO next year. We've already started the process. The same bank that took Newsmax public earlier this year is taking us public, and you're going to start seeing Parler everywhere. We've been in stealth mode for 2 years on purpose because we wanted to build something that they couldn't take down before we were finished, but also we wanted to build something that can last decades. And when you see the details of what we have on the cloud side, on the fintech side, it will blow you away. And I think it's going to shock a lot of people, but it's also going to be an answer to countless prayers that people have been putting out there looking for a solution that still doesn't have big tech's evil claws, kind of clenched onto it. We're completely free of that. And I think it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise, and we're excited for that.
As you were in stealth mode, when did you guys decide, okay, now's the time? What was that moment in your, you guys are meeting, you're getting together, you say, okay, guys, let's target this date.
When everything was running smoothly.
Yep. Okay. All the bugs. Okay. So basically all the bugs were out and you're poking holes in it. Okay. Gotcha.
It's like you want to make sure if you're going to take a hot rod out for a test drive, you want to make sure the wheels are on,
You're not building it as you're doing 95. I get that.
Yeah, exactly. Or else you're just revving that engine and sitting in the driveway, But, for us, we wanted to make sure that, not just Parler or Play TV was up and running, but we wanted to make sure that all the infrastructure and the supporting systems that were integrated with it were up and running too. Because the last thing you want to do is present a product to the market and say, oh, but all the really cool stuff's going to come in about a year. That's not what we've done. We have it, we're like, hey, you're a content creator. You want to hop on Play TV right now? Guess what? You can be monetized right now. You can start earning money today. And you get to take 80% of it home compared to 50% like it would be on TikTok or Instagram. We do 80-20 splits. So they can go on, they can start posting their videos and start receiving tips immediately. In the next few weeks and months, they'll have subscriptions, paid content, and other ways that they can monetize that they haven't been able to really do that before without jumping through massive hoops on getting certain amount of views, having certain amount of followers, all these stupid milestones that big tech places on you in order to make money. We said, screw that. You can start making money today. And you don't have to be an influencer to make money. Any mom and pop, if they want to post a video, they can receive a tip immediately. Now, here's the other really cool thing. Let's say that you're a church. Let's say you're a small church and you're looking for donations. You could post your service on Play TV and receive donations directly on your video. No, YouTube doesn't offer that.
No.
So we wanted to make it where, if you remember back during COVID, Zuckerberg shut down live streaming for church services, which makes zero sense because you can't catch COVID through a screen, but they wanted to silence churches. We said that will never happen again, especially with us. And so we want to empower churches where we can make it easier for them to spread the gospel, easier for them to receive tithing and donations and giving, and to make it where they will never have to worry about it. We want it to be that digital resource for them where they will always be able to preach preach the word of God as easy as they can.
That's fantastic. I mean, John, I would love to have you back on like every quarter, maybe every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it turns out to be, just
Anytime.
to get updates how we're moving getting the hot rod down the drag strip, so to speak. Rod, any further thoughts, questions you've got for John as we wrap up the segment?
Now, I'm just so impressed with what you guys are doing. This is Herculean and much needed. So go get them.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Dean, any thoughts from you, bud?
No, just you're doing God's work. Godspeed.
Absolutely.
If I could do one plug, Chuck, if you're
Go ahead,
interested
bud.
in investing in Parler, accredited investors are able to invest in us. You can go to invest.parler.com. If you want to learn more about Parler, you can go to parler.technology, and you can download Parler today on iOS and Android as well as Play TV.
That was going to be the next question. Where can people get in touch with you? Can people reach out to you personally? You got an email address that they can hit you with?
Yeah, you can just hit us up at support@parler.com, or you can reach me at john@parler.com. JON.
Absolutely. Incredible. Great stuff. Rod Martin, where can people find you online?
rodmartin.org, rodmartin.org. We have tens of thousands of subscribers, 275,000 more followers over on X. There's a reason Fox Business calls us absolutely phenomenal. So come to rodmartin.org and check us out.
And Dean, what about you?
ONCPA.com. Jump online, connect with my team. Let us figure out how we can help you disinherit the government and not your kids.
Love it. And you can find us at freedomchamber.net, where we have a solution for healthcare for small and mid-sized, actually any size business in America. Log in right now, freedomchamber.net, and learn more. You can always email me, chuck@freedomsquare.com. John, I can't wait to keep tabs on you and see how things are going at Parler. That is exciting stuff for us that have always kind of looking over our shoulder about big tech on what we can, what we can't do. And it's great news to see that Parler is going to give us that opportunity and that oasis to be able to do that. So God bless you guys. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, and I expect to see this show on Play TV. And next time you have me on, I'll make sure I'll wear a Stetson so I can blend in with Rod.
You know what? You're the second guest in a row we've had on the last 2 weeks that said I need to bring a hat on. We had
I need to wear a Stetson, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Good stuff. I'll have to bring mine in. So this has been the Business Pulse America. Thanks for tuning in, and watch for us soon on Parler.
Hey, the Freedom Chamber is amazing. I'm so glad that we get to be here on the Freedom Chamber's Business Pulse. This is an organization you should support. It's an organization of which you should be a member. The Freedom Chamber is getting important things done in this country. And honestly, we need spaces for people who believe the sorts of things that if you're watching this, you probably do. We have gone through this extended period of not just canceling individuals, but just boycotting businesses and doing terrible things, debanking. Nigel Farage, who is likely to be the next prime minister of the United Kingdom, was actually debanked by all the major banks in the United Kingdom. And of course that happens here, and we get de-insured and all these terrible things. The Freedom Chamber is fighting for you. The Freedom Chamber is here to make sure that you're protected, that your values matter, they count, and they're in the public square. So I encourage everybody to join the Freedom Chamber.